space, the final frontier.
Sir, the Federation does have enemies. We must seek them out.
Yes. That's how it starts.
If we're all here, where's Sue? Captain Sue.
But we can only look forward.
Warning! Warning!
We have to be torchbearers, casting the light so we may see our path to lasting peace. We will continue exploring, discovering new worlds, new civilizations.
We will continue to explore. Dan's
Is that all
armpit.
this meant to? Just another spatial anomaly, just another day.
Do you ever see Star Trek?
Oh, I see Star Trek.
The three of us.
Oh, yeah.
And millions of primitive humans. I like those hearts.
Kapla!
It looks like Star Trek, it acts like Star Trek, and it feels like Star Trek.
TrekCast.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Another exciting episode of TrekCast by the super dad, Dan Lombardo. Not all heroes wear capes. I love it. It's great. It's great. You need lots of coffee
Super
at this
dad.
point in time.
Oh man, you have no idea. Well, no, you do. You do know.
I do have an idea. Yes.
Daniel, you have no idea.
Daniel has no idea.
No.
But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the most unpredictable Star Trek podcast in the universe, here today with a boatload of news about the MCU that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, because, one thing we're good at, when there's really no Star Trek news, we're good at finding filler.
Yeah.
And,
That's what we need right now.
so
something happened.
Since there's really nothing going on Star Trek wise, we'll talk about WandaVision.
WandaVision. What a dumbass name. I mean, well, hold on. Let me do that again because this is really cool. What a dumb name. Anyway,
I like how he bleeps out the the dead air between the word dumb and ass.
because I didn't actually say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Wow. A hawk just landed on the fence in the backyard.
I wondered what you were looking at.
Yeah.
It almost looked like you were watching the Picard trailer all over again.
Well, what I'm trying to figure out is if he's real or not.
Well, no, they're not.
That's a big
sure
drone.
Rephrase that, a hawk-shaped drone.
That's a
just
big
landed
drone.
on the fence in the back. That's crazy.
It's the
Okay,
urban
so
reconnaissance drone.
what?
It's the urban reconnaissance drone.
Yes.
Yeah. The all-terrain, all-weather.
All weather.
Yep.
The Hawks are good for that. It's a good design.
Yep.
So I've been a little preoccupied, you guys know.
We do.
Slightly.
Yeah, I was cooking breakfast for the family. I'm like, do. I look at the clock. It's like 11 after 11. It's like, But I'm here. Sorry about the delay.
That's okay.
Let's talk some Star Trek.
It's worth it. It's worth it with everything we got going on today. So
Yeah.
we got a lot to cover. So 2 things real quick. Dan, do you have your air conditioning on inside the van? I'm sure you probably do.
I do. I'm going to lower the...
Just a touch. I don't know if it's almost like it's echoing again. I don't know, but whatever. We'll deal with that.
I don't hear the echo.
You don't? Okay, good. Then maybe it won't come through on the recording. And then Daniel, you sound muffled today, buddy. Is the mic kind of moved away from you, or? Oh no, it's right there.
How about this? Is that better?
That's better. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to change the position, see if it worked any different, but
Yep.
guess not. Okay. That's fine.
So is the AC sound a little better?
Can you hear it, Dan?
Still hear it.
I hear it slightly, but it's not so bad.
Yeah. You're going to need it, buddy. It's not going to be cold.
Yeah, you're
right
going to
there
need
today.
it, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like hot.
Yeah, we'll just deal with it. It's hot in that van down by the river.
It is. It is. I think we sold a couple of stickers. Is that?
We did.
We did, yeah.
We sold some stickers. Yeah, that's a good reminder for our store. It's on Redbubble. You can just search for TrekCast TNG, and it's all there.
You can get there from the website too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is on our website, TrekCast.com.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Forget that it's there. Yeah, but it's there's all sorts of different designs for shirts and hats, and Redbubble just will do damn near anything. You can even get cell phone cases. So it's all there.
Cool.
So people can check that out. Anything else we need to plug while we're on? Oh, our banner, the Entertainment Earth banner.
Yep.
That's also on the website. It's down at the bottom. We're going to be talking a lot about Comic-Con and all the news that came out. So it is a good reminder that a lot of those Comic-Con exclusive, like toys and figures and special event things, they're available at Entertainment Earth, and you can get that through our banner. It doesn't cost you any more to go through our banner, guys. It just helps the show out. So if you're going to go pick up some of that stuff, that would be greatly appreciated if you do that.
Yep, and then don't forget the coffee account. I'll go ahead and mention that now. We can get that out of the way before we get into the rest of the news, because we got a lot to cover.
We do have a lot to cover.
So I wanted to say thanks to Sam, who went and donated here a couple days back. Maybe I read this the last time. I don't remember, but he said, love the show. Bought a coffee for each of you guys. Second time contributing, but I will probably make it a monthly thing. Predictable support for the most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. Thanks for the great show. And then after that, I think I did read that the last time around. But anyway, after that, Daniel Brennan also contributed, bought us a coffee, and said, have you tried TrekCast on coffee? I appreciate the continued effort, and congrats to Daniel. He meant Dan, on the new baby.
Yeah. Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah. It's like on
it's
like on TikTok. Have you seen that thing going around on TikTok where someone's just sitting there and all of a sudden one of those achievement things come up over their head and said, you forgot to pull out? Wait, what?
So I actually got more than one private message from some of our listeners about about the new addition to the family. I can't access my messenger right now to call them out by name, but you guys know who you are. Thank you very much. It means the world to me to have you guys reach out on a personal level like that. So thank you.
That's great.
Hit me right in the feels, man. Right in the feels.
It's a ponfarge emotion.
Yeah. All right, so without further ado, let's get right into the news.
Yeah, so the way I'm going to split it up...
Attention all hands. It's time for Star Trek news.
Every day is like our first day.
Exactly. That's fine.
That's all right.
So just the way I was going to split it up, we are going to talk about all the Comic-Con stuff. That's our topic today. So I'm not going to touch base on that in the news now. We'll wait for the main topic. But I do just have some random news stories. The first one, might as well just get this one out of the way. The big news story, one of the big stories out of Variety, the Orville is moving from Fox to Hulu for season 3.
What the?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, can you get one of those ready for me?
Yeah, I got it.
What the? Thank you.
Yeah.
I was a little off, but you know.
That's all right.
Yeah, close enough. So yeah, there, Ed Mercer, now Disney princess Ed Mercer and his crew are moving to Hulu exclusively. A lot of fans are upset about this. Clearly, now that they have to pay for the Orville, I think that's kind of the point. They're seeing the success that CBS All Access is having with Star Trek, and now they want their Star Trek to make
They just keep copying. They can't help themselves. It's a copying machine over there at Seth MacFarlane's house. I mean, that's what it is at this point. But
well, I mean, it's weird that it's a Disney show now.
Well, it's also
why Hulu though? Why wouldn't it be on Disney Plus? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, here's why.
They also own Hulu.
Yeah, Disney owns Hulu. Disney owns 45% of Hulu.
More than that, because they owned their 45. Then they bought out Fox, so they own Fox's position on it.
Yeah.
I think there's only like 10% that they don't own.
So then why is Disney Plus even going to be a thing?
Because
why isn't it just Hulu?
Because if you get rid of that and you make it just Disney Plus, now you're going to lose all of your deals you have with all the other television networks that are on Hulu.
Right. Because more money is better.
Yes. Well, It's pretty smart, actually, if you think about it. If you're Disney and you want to roll out a...
That's rule of acquisition Omega.
Yeah.
More money is always better.
More money is always better.
Yeah.
But no, if you're Disney and you're going to roll out your own Disney Plus service, okay, great, that's for all your own stuff. But what about everybody else's stuff? They're not going to want to license that and put it on Disney Plus like they would for Netflix, right? There's no way.
Right.
That's Disney's thing, right? So you have to have a separate deal to be able to have everybody else's stuff on it, and that's Hulu. So eventually what they'll probably do is bundle these two together, and Disney Plus is going to be $6.99, Hulu is $5.99. You'll probably be able to get both of them, no commercials, for $12.99 or something like that. Yeah, so that's what they'll probably wind up doing. But they have their own. They have their own audiences.
Who better to compete with than yourself?
Yeah, competition is great as long as we figure out how to kill the competition. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So the other cool thing too is now that they're on Hulu exclusively, one of the points that I read somewhere, they don't have to worry so much about censorship in their jokes.
Nope.
So they can get much raunchier if they want to. Not like they really had much of a filter before.
No, they didn't.
I really hope they don't go that route.
Me too, actually.
It was kind of, the potty humor was kind of a gimmick to pull people in, to then realize, hey, this is legitimate science fiction with value.
Right.
I think I'll stick around after the dick jokes. So, to just, okay, season 3, we're full streaming, more dick jokes. It just kind of, I think it's a step backwards.
As long as they don't have a sign in the writer's room that just says more dick jokes. So that's the big thing out of that panel. So that's pretty, it's different.
When did they say the new season is
2020.
2020. Yeah. And I heard late 2020 is what I read.
Yes. So that says to me that, well, I mean, I read the full article, and they were talking about not being able to make certain deadlines, and that being part of the reason that this is going to Hulu.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, there's casual watchers out there who are going to forget about this show during the 19 months that it's off the air. How many times have you watched a show? Maybe not now, but years ago you watched a show. You're like, oh, it's a pretty cool show. And then the following year it didn't come back. And you didn't quite notice right away. And
like when Game of Thrones didn't come back for like a year and a half?
I don't know anything about Game of Thrones. This is how much I know about
it. Yeah, but I mean, same idea.
But I can remember.
That's a different thing, though.
As a kid. I can remember as a kid shows being canceled, over the summer, and not realizing it until a year later.
Right.
And
right.
I think there's people who are going to assume that the show is just gone.
Well, they won't see it anywhere because if they don't already have Hulu, they won't see it anywhere. So it'll just show up magically if they do have Hulu at some point, and they'll be like, oh. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of my take on that is it will suffer a little bit from viewership, but no one will know. Only Hulu and the Orville and Seth MacFarlane himself will know that it suffered a little bit, and then it'll probably rebound because, frankly, guys, streaming is where everything is at anymore. It's all there. I don't know anybody who doesn't have 2 different methods of streaming content at this point. Netflix being the primary, and then they've always either got HBO or Prime or something else on the side that they switch through, which is what we're doing here. We have no more cable. We have fiber incoming line for the internet speed, but no actual cable, right? So we have Netflix, we have Hulu, and we have HBO right now. At any given time we have 3. And we'll drop one of those.
Netflix, Amazon, and HBO.
Yeah, and see, every once in a while we'll drop one of those and pick up another one. So I'll be picking up CBS All Access at the end of the year when the short treks come out. I'll probably leave that one on permanently from this point on with all the stuff that's going to hit that.
Pretty soon after.
Yeah, pretty soon after. So I might as well at that point.
Yeah.
But when you start adding it up, it was $100 for cable. Well, it's $6 for Hulu. It's $12.99 for Netflix. And it's $10 for Amazon, which I'm going to have during the fall no matter what because I need that for all my shipping of Christmas crap for people. So, so You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's that's cheaper than the $100 on cable, and I'm getting far more out of it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm wondering if at some point this, for lack of a better term, the streaming bubble is going to burst, because every other day you read about a new service coming out.
AT&T service. Yep.
It's getting too expensive.
And it's getting to the point where people are gonna be like, "F this." You know what? I'm not doing this. I'll do the I'll do the red box. I'll do one service, and that's it.
They're already seeing an uptick in piracy because it's just too much.
Yes.
Well, and that one service that winds up dominating everything will not be Netflix in about 2 years' time.
Oh no, the dominating service will be BitTorrent.
Yeah. Well, Netflix already doesn't dominate. I mean, how many times?
Oh,
they get on
yes,
there?
they do. Oh, yes, they do. They have
lost $17 billion on Friday.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. They have 147 million subscribers. No other streaming service has any more than that.
Today.
That's right. Today
they do.
They are dominating today. They won't be in a couple of years' time.
Welcome to streaming,
here's the thing. But but they've peaked.
They have peaked. You're right.
They have peaked because, movie-wise, it's crap. They're crap for movies. You flip through there, and I can't find anything I'm even remotely interested in watching. Okay, yeah, they have some good original content on there, but they've also begun slapping their name on just about any piece of crap that comes down the pike.
Well, that they buy, yeah.
Yes. And I've watched the first 20 minutes of a lot of garbage that had the Netflix logo on it.
Right, yeah.
So, there's going to come a point where people are going to say, what am I paying for here?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Did you ever watch Triple Frontier, Dan?
No.
I did.
Do you like it, Daniel?
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, it's on my queue. I keep meaning to watch it, but then I get stuck watching Track
I like
or
a
Game
lot
of
of those
Thrones.
actors, so I forgave a lot of the issues.
Yeah.
I just signed up for my free month of, they don't call it YouTube Red anymore. I think they call it YouTube
Premium.
Or whatever.
What's that?
YouTube TV or whatever.
I think they call it YouTube Premium. I think that's what they call it.
Oh, yeah.
But
here I can tell you.
I watched that first episode of Cobra Kai a year
right?
ago, and I really wanted to see the rest of it. And I was like, you know what? I'm on paternity leave. I'm gonna be home for a couple weeks. I could probably bang through these 2 seasons real quick. So I signed up for my free month. I got the reminder in my phone to cancel on the 17th.
Nice.
And we'll see how far we can get.
There you go.
All right, so the second news story comes from TrekMovie.com, and the headline reads, CBS Viacom merger announcement expected soon. Star Trek reunification cited as a factor. So there's a lot of reports buzzing around that Viacom and CBS are going to merge back again. That the announcement can come as soon as August. They were split back in 2005, but one of the big factors they're saying is the reunification of Star Trek. Apparently, what they want now is with big challengers like Disney now, who have all the Marvel characters just about under one roof. They see the importance of that, so now they want to be able to have Star Trek all under one roof. Oddly enough, they also mentioned Mission Impossible, because CBS owns the TV series, but Viacom owns the film rights. So the same thing as Star Trek, and they want to be able to have that all in one spot too.
Well, so. I mean, I was at last year's Mission Impossible con.
Right.
In,
with your fake mask.
Yeah, I was like, Mrs. Baker, and I would have got away with it if it wasn't for those kids. Right off the rails. Go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's
all
all there is to it. This would lead to CBS acquiring Starz and Lionsgate and Univision all at once as well. So we'll see if this actually happens. We don't know. It's just a rumor going around, basically. But there's been talks about this. Next news story comes from Newsarama. IDW returns to Star Trek Mirror Universe and sends Voyager there for the first time. So in October, we're going to get a one-shot comic called Star Trek Voyager Mirror and Smoke. And it's going to throw Captain Janeway and the rest of the crew into the Mirror Universe, or at least we'll see their Mirror Universe versions.
Does she get a goatee?
Hopefully she does. But when I read the description of what the story is, I couldn't stop laughing. Let's see. Let me read this. Okay. Voyager Mirror and Smokes introduces Captain Janeway of the Voyager, a rebel starship stranded in the Delta Quadrant, far from the ruins of the Terran Empire. When Janeway crowns herself Pirate Queen of the Quadrant, the locals, including scavengers Neelix and Kes, won't give up without a fight. Amidst this conflict comes the crew of the Voyager has a second problem on their hands. Just who is this Terran calling herself Annika Hansen? Can she be trusted? Yeah. It's like all the fan fiction at once.
Yeah. With pirates. Arr.
With pirates. So this comes out in October. It's just a one-shot. So
that would probably be a lot of fun to pick up and read.
I love Harry.
It's a one-shot?
It's a
one
what?
shot?
Yes,
it's a one-shot?
Yeah.
Because one is probably enough.
Probably.
Yeah. That's all that's needed.
Janeway looks like Linda Hamilton with her giant rifle.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. It's gonna be nuts. So, all right. And our last news story comes from COS. What is it? Consequences of Sound.net. Right, that reliable chestnut.
What?
I don't know, man. I just find them. The headline reads: Quentin Tarantino says Simon Pegg doesn't know what's going on with Star Trek.
I love this. I love this.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have heard about this little war of words.
Yeah.
No.
Simon Pegg and Quentin Tarantino. Yeah.
It's hysterical.
So recently, Simon Pegg was being interviewed by Coming Soon, and they asked him about the Tarantino Star Trek, and he basically said something to the effect of, "Look, man, it's not going to happen. Fans don't need to worry about that. All it's going to be is Pulp Fiction in space." Like, kind of very dismissive, right? So then Deadline interviewed Quentin Tarantino, and actually, let me see if I've got this. Yeah. So they interviewed Tarantino, and they asked him what he thought about, Simon Pegg saying that. And basically, here's what Tarantino said. I've got the audio right here.
Do I get a nerd alert if I can guess what that's from?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's Kindergarten Cop.
Goddamn right it is.
Warning, nerd alert, nerd alert.
I want a double nerd alert because believe it or not, there is a sequel to that movie that only came out about a year ago, starring Dolph Lundgren.
Are you serious?
Well, there was a Kindergarten Cop 2.
What?
There was a
just
sequel.
told you about it.
No, I mean with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, there wasn't.
They made two movies.
No, they didn't.
No.
I thought they did.
No.
I have to look
That's
it up
the Mandela effect.
Oh, shit.
Anyways, so what he really said is, look, quote, I get annoyed at Simon Pegg. He doesn't know what's going on, and he keeps making these comments as if he knows about stuff. Another comment he said is, well, it's going. Okay, he said that Simon Pegg said it's not going to be Pulp Fiction in space, but Tarantino says yes, it is. If I do it, that's exactly what it'll be. It'll be Pulp Fiction in space. That Pulp Fiction aspect, when I read the script, I feel is unlike anything I've read in science fiction movie, and that has this shit in it. So we'll finally know what Romulan with cheese is like in Paris.
God.
So yeah, that's all my news stories.
Well, I really thought there was a Kindergarten Cop 2 that didn't star Dolph Lundgren, and the fact that you know that, Dan, is so bad.
Warning, nerd alert, nerd alert.
So bad. All right, so now let's go with a little feedback.
Space signal.
A little bit of feedback. We got a couple of people who actually called in, left us some voicemails. to the new TrekCast voicemail call-in line. Anybody have that number written down?
Do you want to give out that number real quick?
Do what?
Do you want to give out that number in case somebody listening?
Yeah,
now
that's what I was saying.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. We are all with it today.
I've had a lot of sugar today.
Oh man, I'm so hyped up. I'm so hyped up.
They can call that number if they want to phone it in, just like the three of us.
Yeah, exactly. Damn, where is that number? I got it written down here somewhere, but I can't pull it up because I'm using Skype at the moment. So it's on our website. So let me pull it up there. Anyway, let me play one of the voicemails that we got that someone left us while I go pull that up.
Okay.
I'm leaving a voicemail because the nice Skype lady told me to, and I don't want to disappoint her because she seems nice. So hopefully you get this voicemail. Bye.
That was voicemail number 1. Here's voicemail number 2.
Hello? Hi? Hello? Is this the TrekCast? Hi? I'm trying to reach TrekCast. Hello? I like the Klingons. Thank you.
That's pretty good.
That's some quality feedback we're getting there.
I tell you what, that's just so that great. Everybody knows that they could be leaving that. It's not a phone number that we will answer.
Well, apparently that guy didn't realize that.
Yeah, I don't know. Exactly. So it's not something anybody's going to answer. You call in about 3 seconds, 4 seconds, the voicemail starts. It's a nice Skype lady. She asks you to leave your message, and then you do it, just like Daniel said. Without further ado, that phone number is 1-816-873-8448. That is a number you can call at any time, night or day, anywhere around the world. We're not responsible for any charges you may incur when making that phone call. All right, now.
Didn't we get one from across the pond?
No, we didn't.
Oh.
Not a voicemail, no. We played an audio and video one in our last episode from Mike. Was it Mike Gutierrez?
Yeah.
That was in our last show, Dan.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any other voicemails besides, well, the one you're thinking of across the pond, that was my daughter with her British accent. That's what you're thinking of.
All right.
So
I thought that
He's
was
very convincing,
Daniel.
apparently.
I thought that was Daniel the whole time.
No, that was my daughter. That was my daughter with her British accent. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Very good.
Yeah. So I don't have it set up to play. Sorry. I don't even know.
So wait a minute. Wow, that's amazing. I thought your daughter sounded just like a Mexican dude sounding like a little British girl. That's talent.
That is talent. That is talent. She's pretty good. Okay, any other feedback before we move on? I know you made a post earlier in the week on the Facebook group, which, as always, if you're not on the Facebook group, you're missing about 40% of the show. Doesn't mean you have to be in the Facebook group to listen to the show, nor does it mean if you're in the Facebook group do you have to listen to the show. Either way, okay? However, you want to get the full TrekCast experience. You want the je ne sais quoi, as they say. Whatever the hell that means. Oh, wait, hold on. I deserve.
Warning,
I don't even know
nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Then you want to be in both places at once, of which we're trying to get to a little over 2,400 members, 2,400. Why? I don't know. It's a round number. I also want to be in the 25th century, so 2,400 would be nice. We're only a few people away from hitting that goal, so if you are not a member of the Facebook group, get on over there now. Ask to join. Dan, our host and admin, will let you in, as long as you're not a Star Wars fan, clearly, on your Facebook page. If you're a Star Wars fan, we're not letting you in. So, anyway.
That's not true.
Yeah, I know. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about all these MCU announcements. Okay. Yeah.
So we've got quite a bunch. So I'm gonna be. I got the article from IO9. They pretty much have put everything together into one big article. So I've got it all, so we can just go down the line with it. So
I pulled up the one from StarTrek.com, by the way, Daniel, just so you know, because line number 1 it states Romulans are the new Legolas.
Yeah. I saw that guy. That was weird. Well, this one starts with Discovery Season 3, and talking about how.
Oh yeah, there's still a Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
About that show.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's work our way up from the bottom to the top in terms of the news announcements, and we'll start with Discovery, which is amazing that's on the bottom of the heap at this point with everything else they showed us. But yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Season 3, we're going to be about 930 years in the future. They're telling us that they feel unshackled from canon now.
Yeah.
Which, why not just do the show in the beginning, this far, whatever.
I have a brilliant theory here. I have a brilliant theory that ties everything together, okay, about Discovery, okay? So, as we know, so far up to this point with CBS All Access, Alex Kurtzman, and Discovery, everything is about Michael Burnham.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's about Michael Burnham, okay? It's not that hot, Dan. It's 87 degrees. Anyway,
sorry.
That's okay. No, so everything's about Michael Burnham. She's now 1,000 years into the future from where we last saw her. That's also where Discovery was in the short trek Calypso. So they're going to meet up with that guy, and they're going to tie those two things together. Conversely, in the Picard trailer, there's this mysterious young girl that he thinks is extremely important. Who could that be?
Mm-hmm.
That's Michael Burnham's daughter from an alternate universe, an alternate dimension, an alternate timeline. Okay, that's what's going to tie these two shows together. And the reason I know all this, number 1, because everything's about Michael Burnham, and number 2, they called it Star Trek Universe, kind of like Spider-Verse, right?
I'm okay. We'll get to some of the theories of who that lady is in Picard.
It's a joke.
I know.
Everything's about. Damn it! I missed that.
Michael.
Yeah. Everything's about Michael Burnham.
I gotta get my own soundboard.
It's too much fun. I'm telling you what.
So we're getting a new character named Book. So they apparently want to be Firefly with Shepard Book, and now they're going to just have Book. David Ajala, he played Manchester Black in Supergirl. He's joining season 3 of Discovery. They're also saying that they didn't quite make it to Terra Elysium like they had wanted to make it to. Remember, they made that big jump and they were going to try to go to Terra Elysium, that planet with all the people from World War III. So they didn't make it there, apparently. Whatever.
But they did send a signal back from there.
Yeah, something.
So, or at least close enough to that area. So.
Well, I'm guessing not only are they in the future, but they're kind of like Voyager and they're lost. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, didn't they say that the crew is kind of split up? They're not all arriving in the same place?
I didn't see that, but I just saw that.
Which didn't make sense to me, but.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that'll happen at some point, because that's a decent storyline for a couple episodes. The other thing that they're saying is that in the Picard panel they mentioned this about Discovery, that the Discovery crew was going to bring the Starfleet ideals to the future, and that the future really needs it. So, okay, hopefully we'll see.
Yeah, they say his name is Cleveland Booker, and he'll be a character who isn't exactly what you'd expect. Right away, when they get to the other side of the wormhole, they have big problems. The crew of Discovery may not have all landed in the same place. That's what they say. So with that, I think what they mean is that Michael Burnham is in one place, and everybody else who's on the ship is in another. Because I'm not exactly sure how you could take individual people that are on a ship, and have them show up on the other side of the wormhole in different places without the ship breaking apart or them being in space without a suit on and dying. So,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's kind of that's kind of weird, but I think that's what they mean by that. And there is no captain.
Yeah.
There's no actual captain. Someone just has to step up and just pretend to be captain for a while. There's no one assigned.
So my stupid little fan theory, I'm kind of hoping for the villains for season 3. I really want it to be Saru's people, because I want them to have had 1,000 years to evolve and get high tech and just be bloodthirsty killers, or just conquerors. You know,
what
I mean,
they
if they went
originally
from
were.
farmers to fighter pilots in 6 months in Discovery, who's to say what they could do in 1,000 years?
Yeah.
So, I'd love to see that, but we'll see.
They've genocided all the ball.
Why not? Took their ships and said, "Hey, we're on it."
You're done.
Yeah. Built up new tech, because they were supposed to be a predator species after all.
They are.
So.
They are.
If they want to take on the Klingons and the Romulans, and Cardassians, just go nuts.
Yep. Have at it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be that guy. And I know this is gonna sound totally dickish, but
Totes.
I don't care. I don't. I really don't.
No, not after yesterday.
There's so much other, and I know this is a subjective term, better stuff coming down the pike that I really can't get excited for Discovery's return.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch it.
Oh yeah.
I'll review the episodes with you guys. I'll give it a fair shake each and every time. Like I think I've been pretty fair over the last year and a half, giving things a chance. But the truth of the matter is, I am so much more excited about the other stuff that, if they canceled Discovery tomorrow, I'd probably be okay with it.
Yeah. Well, everybody's excited for Picard, is what it is.
Yeah.
As is what else has been lost. I guess that's pretty much all there is to Discovery. They also said that in the short treks, we are going to get a short trek of Pike and Spock and number 1. There was a trailer. I don't know if you guys got to see that trailer for the short treks. Yeah. Tribbles are introduced. So that's pretty cool.
A little early, but okay.
Well, it's kind of funny. There's a scene in the trailer where number 1 and Spock get stuck in a turbo lift, and it's the most awkward conversation because neither of them talk. It's pretty funny. It's Spock trying to do small talk. It's hilarious. So, it definitely looks like an attempted pilot for their series. So,
well, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
I would love to see that. I mean, this is the funny thing about all the stuff that they're coming out with now that we've gotten a good look at it. It kind of makes Discovery what DS9 was during the day when there was 3 shows on the air at once, and who cared about DS9? Nobody realized what the gem that show turned out to be, but it's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So after they talked about Discovery and the short treks, they pivoted to Lower Decks. Remember that thing?
Yeah.
So Lower Decks is the animated show about a, quote, a not important ship in Starfleet. So this kind of sounds like their Orville in a way.
Well, Jerry O'Connell said it best. He was quoted as saying, "It's the Downton Abbey of Star Trek."
Nice. Yeah, he plays Commander Ransom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ransom. Why do I know that name? Was there a Ransom?
There was a Ransom. I can't remember from where, but
was he one of the characters when Voyager found that other ship in the Delta Quadrant?
Oh,
Equinox,
yeah.
yes.
Equinox.
Wasn't somebody named Ransom?
Yeah, their captain was Ransom.
Yeah.
Well, they describe this commander, not a captain. They describe him as Commander Ransom as a California Riker.
Well, it's a California class starship. So it's a whole new class.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I don't know if pot is legal on this ship or.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
One of the main characters in this Lower Decks is played by Tawny Newsome, who's a comedian, who now has her own podcast.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, relax, Chaddington.
It'll be okay, Chaddington.
Well, here's what's funny about that. Not to break off of your thing there, Daniel, but here's what's funny about that. They call her a co-host of that show. They haven't named who another co-host is, or a host for that matter. Yeah, so they're obviously working on a little bit more stuff there. So interesting.
It's Andy Richter.
Oh, I can only hope. Professional co-host. Looks like they're gonna have a grumpy cat doctor of a sort.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
I saw a picture from that show, and I can't help but notice that the uniforms appear to be the same style of Starfleet uniforms from the upcoming Picard. Yeah. So
I noticed that too.
It's probably going to be set in the same time frame.
Yeah.
So
I've heard
cool.
people complain about the animation style already. Yeah, who cares?
It looks kind of like Teen Titans. I understand, but I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like that's the modern style, so it's fine.
Yeah.
You know? This isn't for us. This is to bring the kids in, so it's fine.
Is this the Nickelodeon one, or is that
no? That's two different things.
This is CBS All Access.
Okay.
The Nickelodeon
something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
No announcements on the Nickelodeon thing.
We don't know anything about the Nickelodeon one. We don't know anything really about Section 31 yet. So
I forgot about that too.
Yeah. So
it's a lot to keep up with.
There's a lot in the work. Yeah. So, that's all there is to that one, really. We just know that it's going to be a new ship, and it'll be fun, and it's for kids. They're saying it's closest thing in tone is The Simpsons. So.
Oh boy, that says a lot.
Yeah.
You could read a lot into that. I'm not really sure what to take from that, but.
I'm hoping it's more earlier Simpsons than newer stuff, but we'll see. I'm not gonna hang my hat on it, but I think it'll be fine for kids. Then is kind of like the new show that they're somewhat excited about, and I guess we're kind of excited. I guess Picard.
What's that?
Oh, they're making it a Jean-Luc show because reboots are all the rage.
Really?
Yeah. It's him and a dog.
I suppose that could
according to the posters.
According to the posters, yeah. The dog has a name. The dog has a name.
Yes, De Niro.
That's the dog's name, De Niro?
Uh-huh.
They weren't clear that's the dog's actual name or that's the character, because the dog could have a different name on the show. But
I guess it could, but the way I read it was that's the name of the dog in the show is De Niro. And so at this point, I can only hope at some point Patrick Jean-Luc has to whip the crap out of De Niro. Anyway, I'm not a Robert De Niro fan. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Well, that ruins my theory that the dog was going to be Data. And it would just be a talking dog the entire movie.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Right?
That would have been so good.
Like, we couldn't get you a humanoid body because we couldn't figure it out. But now you're a talking dog, Data.
I tell you, I watched that trailer yesterday, and when at the end of the trailer, when the title screen came up, I stopped watching. So I totally missed the Data thing.
Uh-huh. I almost did too.
When I watched it the second time to show my wife, and it continued to play after the title screen. And I was like, "Oh my God, what just happened?"
Yeah.
Yeah. I freaked out watching it. I really did.
We gotta talk about this.
Yep. Okay. So now let's get into the Picard trailer and let's give it an entire breakdown. I've got it already queued up in my YouTube, not to play it, but to go through scene by scene, exactly what's going on, exactly what's happening. That's my take on how we should do this, Daniel. What do you think?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So the trailer is 2 minutes and 9 seconds long. You have to watch all 2 minutes and 9 seconds. If you haven't watched it yet and you've heard everything we've said so far, we've already spoiled the shit out of it for you, so it's a little late. But we're going to go through it now. You got to watch it. You got to watch every second of it.
At least 17 times.
At least. At least.
I've had a Picard on for the last 18 hours.
That's right. That's right.
How many times have you watched the trailer?
You guys? Like 4 or 5 times.
Okay, yeah, I'm about that 4 or 5 times.
Yeah. I haven't quite gotten that far. I've only watched it 3 times. But hey, I'm going to watch it like over and over right now as we're doing this. So anyway.
I was legit getting an oil change when it came out, and so I had plenty of time to sit there and watch it.
Yeah. All right, so the trailer opens up. You got a couple of screenshots of the first kind of video panning of the vineyard, of course, which is beautiful. This is obviously a rebuilt vineyard from way back in the day when it burned down. All new vines, all new setup, and a gorgeous estate, all done in stone so that it can't burn down again. That's my take on that. But it's beautiful. It's just breathtaking. And then, of course, you see Jean-Luc inside his mansion at the vineyard, opening doors, kind of moving through. You can tell it's old, so obviously he rebuilt this a long time ago. We've had 20 plus years, but you can tell it's been lived in for some time. But it's beautiful, and he talks about how he's tried to make it his home for the last 20 years, and he's trying the last couple of years. He's really tried to make peace with it and live in it, and he just can't do it anymore. You see this gorgeous shot of something on his desk. That's holding his comm badge, which looks exactly like the comm badge from TNG or the TNG, really. But I haven't really looked at it too hard. Does it look like the same?
It's the TNG movie era comm badge.
Yeah, TNG movie era. Yeah. From Nemesis, probably. Then you see Picard kind of standing over the fireplace, talking about how he just can't. He's tried. He can't do it anymore. Then you get this glorious scene of them opening up some sort of tray holding all of Data's parts, which I'm not sure what to take of that. He talks about, Data giving the ultimate sacrifice 20 years ago to save his life. That's all understandable, but why is Data in pieces in a tray when at the end of Nemesis he was B4? Right?
It's not Data. It can't be Data. Data was vaporized, for lack of a better term. Those are either
Data's dead.
That's either lore, B4, or some spare parts from. Where's he from? Omicron Theta.
Omicron Beta Theta. Yeah.
Or it's the 25th century. Those are replicated components.
Well, I'd like to say that, but they look damaged. You get this above shot of some technician with Picard, and Picard's looking down on it, and they look damaged. Like the body has only
got like
half.
A burn mark on it.
It's got burn marks on it. It's only got half of one arm. The shoulder's missing on the other side.
Okay.
So it looks damaged. I don't know if that's supposed to be B4 that's been damaged at some point, and they just haven't never repaired him, or what. So we'll have to figure out what that's all about. Obviously, Data is Data at some point here on the show, because we'll get to why in a minute. But
I don't know. I have a theory about that.
We don't know. This is glorious, though. Anyway, all right. So moving on, they kind of go back to after that scene with him looking at what looks like. I mean, you have to call it data parts. Maybe it's not data, but it's data parts, right? Mm-hmm. In a storage container of some kind. They go back
data
to
bits.
Data bits. You go back. That's pretty good.
You're welcome. Data bits.
That is awesome. I gotta
can't wait
save
for that. Cereal. You want some data bits?
Data bits. That is glorious. You go back to a screenshot of the vineyard, which of course is totally automated. All he has to do is walk up and down and look at it. Everything's being watered, automated. It's probably automated with pickers. I mean, this is no manual labor anymore in Picard's vineyard. But there's interesting buildings off in the background that look awfully tall for being somewhere in France. So that'll be kind of interesting. If that's a city or what, I don't quite understand what's going on in the background. Then we get the nice shot of Picard and De Niro walking through the vineyards.
Let's back up for a moment.
Sure.
We don't know that this is France.
I thought the vineyard was always in France.
We don't know that this is the vineyard.
Didn't we get a... Well...
We know that this is a vineyard.
Yeah.
That retired Jean-Luc Picard lives in. We don't know that it's Earth. We don't know that it's France.
Right. Didn't we get a screenshot of one of the bottles though? That said it was in France.
But that's not to say he didn't get a shipment.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what does the bottle? What does the bottle say?
I'd have to go pull it back up again, but it says the vintage, the year, the name of the wine, which tells you where it's being grown at. It should be in France. If you take the name of the wine for that kind of wine, it's only grown in France, so that's where it should be. But you're right, it could be anywhere. But let's just assume he rebuilt a vineyard in France, right? So that's my assumption for now. There's no other way to know. But you get a screenshot of him walking through his vineyard with De Niro. Kind of sweet, kind of nice. Then he's got his comm badge on, and he's talking to somebody while he's in his chateau, in his mansion. It's not exactly clear if he's talking to somebody who's right there or he's just talking to somebody through the comm badge. You never see him hit it, or tap it. So, but he's clearly talking to somebody about needing to kind of get back in the game. And I don't remember exactly when he starts talking about this girl. But that's the next screenshot you get at around 34 seconds, 33 seconds, is this girl in a hood walking along somewhere. She sees this interview. From the very first little pilot trailer we got, we see Jean-Luc sitting in front of a panel, and they're asking him, where he went, why did he leave, and after all of that, why did you leave, and why are you coming back now? And she sees this interview on a television as she's walking down the street in a hood, because you can see her in the street shot that they give her walking down the street. So that's when she sees it, and that's when she's like, that's how I knew I needed to go and talk to you. So something he says in that interview that gets broadcasted tells this girl she needs to go and find Jean-Luc. And the next screenshot you get, she's at his vineyard, and they're having a conversation.
A lot of people are speculating that this is Data's daughter.
I had wondered that as well.
But I just saw my new favorite hot take, that this is actually Spock's other sister we don't know about.
Well, that's why I was saying it's little did we know Sarek just went around spreading his seed. Anyway,
collecting children.
Yeah,
like Willy Wonka.
Well, there's another shot here at 40 seconds into the trailer where Picard and this young woman are talking, and she's clearly been injured in some sort of a fight, and she's bleeding, and it's red blood. So either Data has gone, or Data's daughter has gone full Terminator disguise with fake skin and that he actually bleeds, or she's, biological in nature. But I don't think she's Data's daughter.
Hologram that's programmed to
look human, appear human.
To look human, to take damage like a human.
Yeah.
This is the 25th century. There's so many possibilities.
Yep.
With everything we know from the past, different episodes, different series. There's just so many different ways they can go with this.
She could have a mobile emitter and be Robert Picardo's daughter. I mean,
yeah. She could.
She could. I think that there's too much Data and the Borg and 709 for it to not be some sort of mechanical girl.
We're getting there. I think she's got obviously she's got an awful lot to do with the Borg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well, I have another theory there. I mean,
they went blue.
The Borg Queen always made reference to Locutus being her king. Is this his daughter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, wouldn't that be sweet? He's 20 years out of getting out of Starfleet. He's having a lot of regrets. He doesn't have any kids. He has no family to speak of. He's not sure what to do with himself anymore. He's kind of having a late light crisis in his vineyard. He doesn't feel at home or at peace there. He needs to do something. Something's happening out in the universe that's not good for Starfleet. Something bad is on the horizon. Feels like he needs to do something, and boom, his daughter shows up. That
would make sense why he visits Sassy 7 of 9. Like, hey, how do I take my girl out of the collective?
Oh, I took it the other way. I took it that she showed up. She showed up wherever he was.
Jerry Ryan shows up.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan.
Either
shows
way.
Up. So what are you, what are you doing here? Not what are you doing here at my house? What are you doing here, wherever they were? Because it wasn't apparent to me that they were at his house, or that they were at her house, or
Right.
Yeah.
They were Mos Eisley or whatever.
Yeah, Mos Eisley, exactly.
So they're skipping around a little bit, and the next couple of scenes that happen around 42 seconds and 44 seconds, I'm willing to bet actually happen before he meets the girl, and it's when he goes back to Starfleet somewhere and says, I need to do something. I need to get. Well, I guess I can't say that because he does mention the girl to Ellen, looks like Ellen Mirren that he's sitting across the table from. So. When he's talking to her about getting back in the game or getting involved in something. So I'm not really sure when this interview happens and the time difference between all of that, but he does mention the girl there when he's sitting there talking to her. And then, of course, the next scene, this girl is running for her life. And Jean-Luc sees her get into a fight, and she takes out two Sith guards in all black. That's what they look like. They look like some Kylo Knights of Ren or something.
Those are Section 31 shock troops.
Yeah, there it is. Section 31 shock troops. That's what it is. They're called the Fuzz. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he watches her beat him off, and then he's...
Whoa! Not that kind of show.
What kind of show is this?
He's like, my daughter's gone astray. I've got to help her.
Wow.
Okay. She jumps off of the...
Let's just take it down a notch, Chaddington.
I'm excited.
Oh, I know.
love that you keep calling him Chaddington.
But she jumps off after this attack or this fight. She jumps off the stairs that she's fighting these two shock troopers on, and she transports into thin air right there. She's falling. So there's a lot of scenes throughout this trailer, by the way, about the transporters. There's a scene where Picard is walking up to Starfleet Command, for lack of any other knowledge of what it is. And there are people in the background walking through little miniature versions of Stargates that sound like transporters. You guys notice that? Did you pick up on that?
Yeah.
No, I only watched it 4 times.
Yeah, yeah. So it looked like something out of the Night in Yorktown when Pine and crew on the Enterprise go to Yorktown and they're walking. You get all these panning shots of Yorktown, and you see people walk up into these booths, hit a button, and they disappear. Transporting site to site in the middle. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like that kind of a version of it. But anyway, it was kind of interesting. Then he's arguing with somebody, don't know who, about the girl being in danger. Then we get a money shot. What do you think these ships are? Yeah. What do you think these ships are that are bearing down on Mars? That looks like Mars to me. At 56 seconds into the trailer, it looks like a whole fleet of Romulan something bearing down on Mars.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
There's no clue what those are. I've never seen that ship style like that in Trek before, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
But then they're scanning someone who looks... I don't know. It's a guy of some kind. I don't think it's a Romulan, but who knows. But the people that are all around him scanning him remind me of something from the original Dune movies.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of scary looking. Or Matrix, long cloaks. But then we get the most glorious shot in the whole darn trailer. Captain Picard Day posters hanging from a wall.
Yeah, is that a flashback, you think? Or
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like it's got to be a flashback.
If it's a flashback, then it's styled the way the rest of this show is styled, because it's not an actual flashback to when it was on, TNG flashback.
Well, it's got to match.
Yeah.
It's got to match. But if not, someone's painstakingly recreated it and hung it up there, because there's lots of other things hanging around the wall that look like memorabilia. Yeah. You kind of watch it real slow. Underneath it looks like there's a bunch of trophies or something. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, it's fitting that the banner is there. They're basically introducing him as the elder person who's going to lead this ragtag crew of young people. And the whole point of Captain Picard Day was Troy beating it into his head that you are a role model.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that's what the callback is all about. And it's also one of the funniest scenes in TNG.
It is.
Reads it over his shoulder. It says Captain Picard Day.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat of a role model.
Role model.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I love that scene.
The next scene in this trailer has got to be the most controversial of all of the scenes in the trailer. And if you pause it at 1 minute and 2 seconds in, you will see what looks like a human with a pretty powerful rifle, a Romulan with a pretty powerful rifle. They are on scaffolding or decking above a crowd in what looks like a pin, and right behind them looks like some new Federation version of Borg. What are those things called that they go rest in?
The regeneration chambers.
Yeah, regeneration. Yeah, the alcoves. The alcove. That's what I was looking for. They look like a Federation version of an alcove. There's two of them, and you can see if you kind of look behind. There's more. There's a whole row of them, but you can clearly see two. Those are clearly Borg alcoves, and right below that, there's a sign that says this facility has gone 5,843 days without an assimilation.
It's a good record.
What?
That's what it says.
Yeah, that's what it says, yeah.
And it says 5,843 in chalk, as if they have to wipe that off every once in a while and rewrite that number.
I'm guessing in that scene they're going to have to rewrite that number to 0.
Yeah. And then, of course,
clearly the Borg are the bad guys.
Yeah, and right next to that sign is this. It says the same thing, but it says it in Romulan.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something about the fall of the Romulan Empire and the Borg and how these two get tied together 20 years into the future. The Romulans clearly play a really big role, along with the Borg, in the Picard series. I mean, they've made that abundantly clear with this trailer.
I can just imagine the writer's room. Like, they're just sitting there going, all right, who are the main bad guys in TNG? Well, the Borg and the Romulans. What if we put them together?
Yeah. Maybe, because, you know...
Yeah, it seems like.
Romulus is dead. But
Right.
apparently this girl... I mean, they make it seem like... Because the very next scene is a clip of this girl and someone else, a friend of hers or whatever, another character, are looking up at those guards who are looking down at them in that pen. And they're wearing red jumpsuits. And there's other people that are crowded around them wearing white jumpsuits. There's even a guy in the background wearing a blue silk tie. No shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Andorian right behind him with white hair. Yeah, he's classy. He's a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
He's owned by a Ferengi. So
I can't wait to see the new Ferengi.
I know. So yeah, exactly, because they're all going to be new.
Right.
So I don't get what's going on with that little section of a scene. It only lasts for a few seconds. Then you go to where they're all like looking like they're in a pen and they're looking up at these guards. So that lasts a few seconds. There's clearly a few other aliens in the background. I can't make out what the one is over her left shoulder. Tall, something that has these things coming out of its head that remind me of Jabba the Hutt's bodyguard in Return of the Jedi. That's what it looks like. Anyway, the next scene is Picard talking to, I'm guessing it's a Romulan, although she could be a Vulcan because she's not showing any emotion. She's just being intent. So it could be a Romulan. Could be probably most likely it's a Romulan just because of the way the eyebrows are. But who the hell knows? But she's clearly not happy with Picard about him letting himself go. And then, of course, this would not be a Star Trek episode or television show without having one of their main characters standing by the rocks that started it all out in California. Is it they're in California or are they in Nevada?
I think they were in California. That's where they shot most of the show.
Yeah.
Talking about Vasquez Rocks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's California.
Yeah, I thought it was California. I knew they shot most of this to start with in California, but anyway.
Oh, that's who that was. Okay. Shit.
What?
So I just put something together that I didn't realize. So in the panel, right, they brought out Brent Spiner, 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan, and then they also brought out Jonathan Del Arco.
Oh,
yeah,
that was
Hugh.
Yeah, it's Hugh.
It's Hugh, yeah.
Yeah. And he
So
mentioned that
he's in this?
He's in this, yes. He's not in the trailer, but he is in the movie. Or the show, whatever.
He's in the show.
The miniseries.
And, yeah.
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, and he said that he wasn't happy that they had to do a head cast, like cast his whole head for to do Borg makeup, the new design.
Yep.
So Hugh isn't like 709 apparently. Hugh's going to be full on Borg. So
Yeah, well, let's get to that in a minute because he doesn't show up in this trailer. So there's a lot
Not
more
at
to
all.
unpack than just this trailer because obviously we got a lot more news here. But this next scene is where at 109 is where we see these weird gates in the background that people are literally just walking through and being transported. They're not even like having to do anything. They just walk through them, that's the first time I've seen anything like that. But, you know, hey, it's in the future from where we left off, so that's cool. I think it's a neat idea. The next few scenes are the ones where we basically see Picard being... You get introduced to these characters that he's going to wind up on a ship with. There's the young blonde...
Going. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine. There's the young blonde. There's the guy with the beard. There's the rowdy-looking one who looks like she lives in a tent outside with curly hair. I don't know who these people are. I don't care at this point. Then we see Legolas. You know, apparently the Romulans are bred and born from Middle-earth at this point. But he's doing some sort of ritual with him. But he's got a man bun for crying out loud. I mean, you know. Anyway. Dan, do you know there's a scene here at like 150? There's a scene where a Romulan, clearly a Romulan, who's bald almost, but has a goatee, is talking with Jean-Luc about he needs to be the captain that everyone knows he is. That guy looks familiar. I don't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
I don't. I would have to watch it again.
Yeah. I don't know who that guy is. We're going to have to figure that out because apparently he plays some sort of a role in putting this ragtag group of kids together. That's when we see Jean-Luc in the tie. And next thing you know, he's on the weirdest looking spaceship I've ever seen. That's weird looking. I mean, the bridge looks like it goes on forever in the background. There's holograms all around him. So it's kind of different. Kind of different looking setup. Then they talk about the journey. We see a lot of walking with him backpacking, you know. I don't know where he's at in some hallway with a lady all in white. Then again, you see the girl. She looks like she comes onto the crew at some point. And that's when people start talking about her as, you know, not who she appears to be. Someone who's either dangerous or important or whatever. They kind of allude to a lot of different things with her background and who she is. But they don't quite come out and give you any kind of clue until at 1:33, boom, we see a Borg cube. And it's not green, it's blue.
Yeah, it's bluish.
So why is the Borg cube blue and not green?
Because that's the other... Yeah.
What'd you say? It's sad?
They're not envious. They're sad.
Yeah.
They're sad.
Well, I would imagine that's not the Borg Collective. It's a Borg cube, but it's not the Borg Collective.
You think it's maybe Hugh's collective? Kind of?
It's either Hugh and his collective, or it's a Borg cube that's been converted by Starfleet. I mean, you look at the warp engines; they always have like a blue glow from the back of them. It could be that. I just had a random thought. The show is called Picard.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not a reference to him. If this is his daughter, that could be a reference to her. She doesn't have a first name. Her designation is Picard because she is of Picard.
That would also mean that the last movie they did from the TNG era, Nemesis, involved another version of Picard, and his first series he does 20 years later is about another version of Picard. But yeah, it's possible. Well, maybe it's what's his name's daughter.
Oh, it's
Shinzon or whatever his name is.
Shinzon's daughter.
Yeah,
could be.
Somehow they cloned her. I think she has more to do with the Borg, though, and I think this is where, if you got to bring Jerry Ryan, 7 of 9 in and Hugh in, then I think that she is some version of the Borg that is independent, that thinks for herself, that was an experiment gone awry, but she was cloned from Jean-Luc's DNA when he was Locutus.
Yeah.
Right? She's got no Borg implants. She doesn't need them.
She's got no visible Borg implants.
Exactly. She's their next evolution to perfection. Right?
So does this somehow at the end, because they said this is going to be 3 seasons. That's what they've mentioned. They have a 3-season arc. That's their plan. Does this end at somehow with Q saying this was the true test of the Borg? Whatever is they unleash with the Borg, whatever is how they want to change humanity, that was the test, that the trial of humanity was ongoing, and Picard series ends it.
Oh, that'd be interesting, but that'd also be kind of like this also never happened, kind of like Lost.
Mm-hmm.
That would kind of piss me off. Don't pull another Lost on me.
Tying in.
I know, but don't pull another Lost on me.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is when we get another great shot. Picard looks like he's back in his mansion. I mean, I know you say, she came to him, but it sure looks like he's back in his vineyard, and he's pouring himself a scotch or something. And
had a hard day, man.
Yeah, and that's when
Jerry hot tea for sure.
Yeah, and that's when Jerry Ryan, 7 of 9, shows up and says, "What are you doing here?" I think she's saying it more as, "What the hell are you doing here?" Not as in she found him out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But what are you doing here? Yeah. What are you doing in France? And yeah, she's definitely sassy. And she looks every bit as good right now as she did 20 years ago. So, anyway.
I feel like she's aged very well, like a fine wine.
Oh, man. Nothing upsets me more than when a beautiful actress in Hollywood decides at some point they're going to get plastic surgery because they just don't think they're beautiful anymore, even though they are, and they totally ruin their face.
Yeah.
Meg Ryan comes to mind. Anyway, so,
No, you're right. She looks like the friggin' Joker at this point.
She would be an awesome Joker's wife to Joaquin Phoenix. Anyway, and they wouldn't even need to spend money on makeup. So, so you get this banter, this sassy 7 of 9 with Picard that happens, and that's glorious. It's glorious. Yeah, sassy 9. And then of course we start to see more shots of the ship. They're obviously in some kind of battle, and then boom, they're taking apart a Borg drone. Mm-hmm. Another shot of the girl. Something's going on there. Don't know what. Gets a little dark. Boom. Star Trek Picard title screen logo shot. Early 2020. So now we know it's not going to happen in December. It's going to happen in early 2020, probably mid-January, and Discovery will come after Picard is done with its first season. That's my take off of that. Yeah, that seems like that'd be about right. And I would think Lower Decks would show up maybe they'll put Lower Decks between the two, but Lower Decks is either going to show up between Picard and Discovery or directly after Discovery. They're not going to show them all at the same time. I would love it if they did.
After Discovery, because then you would have the kids for just out of school.
Summertime.
That's
a good point.
Yeah.
This is where if you're unlucky like Dan the first time around at a minute 54, you walk away from the trailer thinking it's done and all the huge things were just revealed, and you're like, holy crap, this is awesome, this is amazing. But oh no, now we get a shot of Jean-Luc playing cards. After the screen goes black, he's got his Earl Grey tea hot sitting there, and he's playing some cards. You get a nice close-up of it, and he's saying he wants back in the game, which we knew this. It looks like he's wearing the same outfit that he wore when he was given his testimony. It looks like the same jacket, same tie. So
he did not say he wants back in the game. He says, I don't want the game to end.
That's right. Don't want the game to end. Sorry.
And Data says, I know you don't, sir, or something like
Here,
that.
I'll play it. I'm going to play it and listen to it. I don't want the game to end. Boom, Data. I can see that, Captain. Calls him Captain.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he says. I can see that, Captain. Bam, that was a huge reveal. I mean, and we got to talk a lot about Brent Spiner as Data here again, because
people are not loving that de-aging.
I have my theory on that. So
what's your theory, Dan?
My theory is that's not Data. That is Picard on a holodeck.
Yep.
Playing cards with the recreation of his friend who he misses.
Mm-hmm.
And the game is almost over. The game that they're playing, and he misses his friend.
Yeah.
It was a strong connection between those two characters. He misses his friend, and the game's almost over. He doesn't want to leave. And Data's saying, I know you don't want to leave. Now, whether that's just a regular old holographic creation, he walks in the holodeck and says, computer, recreate Data and a card table, and he plays cards with him for an hour, or if these are Data's memories from B4 downloaded into the holodeck, and it's Data's mind, and it's Data's personality, and it's quote-unquote Data's soul, but he doesn't have a body. He can only exist in the holodeck. I don't know. But then that also calls into question, the Doctor returned from the Delta Quadrant with a mobile emitter 20 years ago at this point. That's 20 years they've had to backwards engineer that technology. I really think when Data shows up, he's going to be a hologram. He's not going to be an android.
So I just had an idea. What if that is Data's daughter? She comes to Picard and she says, "Hey, you have my dad's data bits, but his spirit, his program, even though you downloaded a backup into before, actual data is still in the Borg collective because he was hooked up to them for a while. So the whole thing is we have to go back to them to save Data's soul, to put it back into the bits and recreate Data, and that's the mistake Picard feels he made, not saving his friend. That ties into his daughter, and that ties into the Borg and getting him back out on a ship to go save Data.
All of this makes me really sad, because when I watched this trailer and then all of a sudden Data was sitting there, what I want most in the world is for Brent Spiner to be playing Data as Data in the android version, flesh and blood, whatever, and him following around Jean-Luc everywhere he goes at some point, and that be it. Because you can, say what you want, that's Brent Spiner there in the trailer with the makeup on. You can tell it's him. Maybe they de-aged or they smooth things out or whatever. I don't know. But that is him and that is his voice. And I so badly want to see him just walking around as Data again, one way or the other, however they do it. And if it's anything other than that, it'll be sad because it'll be a shell. It'll be a former version of himself, and it won't be the full Monty, for lack of a better way of saying it. You know what I'm saying? And so that'll just be kind of, I don't know.
Well, how would you have him do that, Chad? What would be your plan, your avenue to reach that?
B4 was already there, right? So obviously something happened to B4, and that's that. If I was going to lay this out from what I've seen, I would say, okay, something happened to B4 at some point. Maybe during that thing that caused Jean-Luc to walk away, this big rescue attempt or whatever. He had B4 with him, and then B4 got shot to hell, and they lost some of the information, and that's what caused him to finally walk away. He couldn't stand to lose another person, right? So he walked away and put put B4 into storage and tried to escape all of it. Maybe something else horrible happened during that time too that caused him to just kind of lose it and say, "I'm done." And at some point, he decides he's going to put him back together because this girl needs his help, and he needs somehow Data's tied into that with the Borg and everything else. So he needs Data's memories.
I need my wingman.
Yeah, he needs his wingman. He doesn't have Riker, right? So he puts he puts B4 back together and tries to rebuild Data, and there you go. And there he is sitting there. And at some point, maybe it takes until the end of the first season to where you see this shot right here in the trailer. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a flashback. Maybe it's before B4 got destroyed. Maybe it's, who knows, right? So a lot of different things could happen, but it would just make me sad if it wasn't actually Data walking around in B4's body, just a body. He's not a hologram. He's not a shell. He's not just a flashback or a memory or just pieces of him that's in a holodeck that Picard has to go and visit. I'd want the full-blown Data, and that's kind of how I would do it without really thinking about it too much. But yeah, it just makes me sad when I think of all the other ways that it could be him, and it's probably more likely that it's all those other ways. It kind of makes me sad a little bit.
Yeah, I just can't help but think, think of the logic of the whole thing. If you're living in the 24th century, where holograms are just a regular thing. What's the motivation to build a physical replica of a person? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but a hologram has, even with a mobile emitter, a hologram has some drawbacks. It has to have a mobile emitter. You damage that, you're done. whereas a physical presence takes a little bit more to damage than just I shot the mobile emitter.
Yeah, except they've made reference over the years that Starfleet technology has multiple redundancies.
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty secure.
You have your primary mobile emitter, your secondary mobile emitter, and your backup mobile emitter.
Yeah.
And, that's just as good as having a body, I would think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know.
It'll be
This is all
interesting.
speculation. That could be a dream sequence. He could wake up from that dream. He misses his friend. And he dreamt about playing cards with his friend.
Yep.
And he wakes up and, oh yeah, shit, I'm still in France farming.
Yeah.
That could be the extent of Brent Spiner's involvement. It could be just complete fan service. We just have to wait and see.
Again, that would make me sad.
I mean, it could be Data's daughter shows up, says, let's go save him, has the dream about Data. All right, now we got to go save him. I missed him too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's the trailer in a nutshell. We broke down a 2-minute trailer for 35 minutes, but so there's a lot of other things that came out of this that weren't in the trailer from the panel, from other discussions, and just news that they released. So we knew Jonathan Frakes was directing a couple of episodes, but now we know that Riker and Troy actually show up in this series in the first season. They specifically mention that, although they don't really say how or why. But they do mention that, and that's when they also at the same time say that Jerry Ryan, who will reprise her role as 7 of 9, we just saw it in the trailer, also say the former member of the Borg Collective who returned to Earth used. Where did they say that? I'm trying to read where they say. Oh yeah, right there. They also say that Jonathan Del Arco, Hugh the Borg, will be back as well. And that Jerry Ryan actually had to do some convincing to get him to come back on the show, which I thought was just, excuse me?
Yeah.
What?
So they mentioned that in
What's
the
he
panel.
been doing?
I have no idea.
He was on Criminal Minds and a few other shows like that.
Okay.
He's done a lot of stuff, just little things.
So he's still in the business.
Yeah. So in the panel, they explained that convincing him, apparently he's very claustrophobic, and putting that head cast, like you have to put it on they basically encase your head and put a bunch of goop and you got no straws and everything. That's like a 5-hour process, and he just didn't want to do that. It's not that he didn't want to do the show; he just did not want to do that thing, but he knew he had to do it. So apparently Jerry Ryan sat with him for the 5 hours, like held his hand and kept him comfortable while he was doing that.
If Jerry Ryan held my hand, I would completely submerge myself.
I would too.
Well, you'd have to cover at least one part of me, that's for sure.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
I'm surprised they still have to do these headcasts. With 3D printing the way it is, they have these laser scanners that, just scan your head from every angle. I mean, is it really necessary to do that?
Yeah, because those kinds of prosthetics are very flexible and pliable, and the kind of materials for 3D printing aren't just that flexible yet.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about just creating an exact replica of someone's head.
Yeah.
You scan it with the laser scanner, and then print a physical replica of their head, and then cast your stuff off of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I see no reason why they don't do that. I don't. I mean, from a technical standpoint, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work.
I mean, I know there are some high-end. Well, there's high-end action figures out there that bear likeness to the characters because they have taken scans of the actors' faces in order to do that. So, I mean, if you could do that to recreate something this big, I don't know why you can't do it for.
It's probably just more accurate.
Be in frame.
Yeah, it's probably just more accurate, faster, and cheaper to do. That's probably what it is. I mean, those scanners, to do that right, to do a proper scanner of your head, which I've done. We did it at the big trade show back in Chicago last September, and we had one there in the Herco booth where we were scanning people's heads, taking that geometry, shoving it through the NC programs, and then actually machining their head out of an aluminum block on our 5-axis machine, all within 30 minutes. You could do it from scan to machined head, about that tall, in 30 minutes. But the amount of money it took to have all that sitting there is kind of astronomical compared to, I got some putty, I'm going to slather it on your face, you're going to sit there for 5 hours, and I'm going to rip it off. So
I think it's just a cost thing.
Yeah.
It is. It's got to be cost and timing. I mean, because to set all that up that we did up there at Herco was like three months worth of planning, preparation to make sure we could pull it off, that kind of, or to make sure the guys at Herco anyway could pull it off. I didn't do any of that. Yeah. To make sure they could pull it off and that it would actually work. There was robotics involved and all this other stuff too. So I mean, that was expensive. That was probably a $350,000 setup outside of a chair with some goop and a tongue
I'd
depressor.
rather have Jerry Wright and hold my hand.
Yes, I prefer that.
Yeah.
All right. So here's my question. Picard, Riker, Troy, Data.
Mm-hmm.
There's 4. So what does that leave?
Geordi.
Worf, Geordi, and Crusher. What do you think? You think they'll show up?
They have to at this point.
Yeah.
They just have to. For whatever reason, somehow, some way, they have to at this point. Especially over 3 seasons.
Of Wesley.
And my other question is, so obviously TNG is well represented in this show. Voyager is going to be represented in this show, not counting Worf if he shows up. But what do you think will be the Deep Space Nine tie-in? You know, if they were going to try and call back to all three TNG era shows,
it'd be Miles.
You think so?
Because he was also TNG, so it would make sense for them to reach out to him. And they could be like, "Oh, well, you became such a great engineer. You're going to help us put together Data, you and Geordi together." You know.
If these guys, if these guys were A, brilliant, and B, could actually convince certain actors and actresses to do it, then one of the cliffhanger culminations of the whole Picard series, if they just do 3 seasons and say that's it, we're done, would be the final episode or the final couple of episodes of season 3 of Picard be where Captain Benjamin Sisko comes back from the wormhole. And you have a whole other series.
That's when you transition it to Sisko, the series.
And Star Trek, Sisko.
Mm.
And he picks up the mantle where Picard leaves off because he dies at the end or something, right? So you talk about making this thing last forever. You do that kind of stuff. I mean, holy crap.
You know, they told us that Riker's back, but they didn't say if it was Thomas Riker.
Or Dennis Riker.
That's true. That's true. Could be Dennis.
Could be Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say.
They did not.
You know what I love? We're going to get some feedback from some new listener who hasn't listened to all the old shows. Who the hell is Dennis Riker?
Yeah. What the hell are you talking about?
Captain Dennis Riker.
Yeah.
While we're on the subject of listening to old shows, I just want to bring something up. A lot of you are familiar with the phrase, who sent you?
Oh, yes.
And the correct answer to the question, who sent you, is Geordi sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what we use that for, this is something that David started a few years ago. We're all about cross-promotion. We have no problem promoting other Star Trek podcasts, other sci-fi projects. The only thing we ask is that it's a cross-promotion. If you're going to promote your podcast, you got to promote our podcast. So one thing we don't like is when someone just shows up in the group on Facebook and just starts plugging their own project. So what we do, the test question to find out if they're actually a TrekCast listener is, who sent you?
Mm-hmm.
And the correct response is Geordi sent me. If they answer with anything other than Geordi sent me, we know they're not a TrekCast listener. So it happened last week. There was another podcast being promoted. I don't know anything about this podcast, never listened to it. I asked who sent you, did not get the correct response. And
nope.
And I called him out. I said, you're obviously not a TrekCast listener. Do me a favor and delete your post and reach out to me in a private message so we can have a conversation before you repost it. And the person never contacted me. So eventually I just deleted it. But yeah, we're all about promoting other podcasts, but reach out to us first. We work really hard to try and build this community, and we have no problem helping you out. But we want you to help us out too.
Yeah. Seems reasonable.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah. All right. Any other news from yesterday on the panels? I think we got it mostly covered, didn't we?
I think we got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, here in about 2 weeks, and this is the thing about this that astonishes me, if you really sit back and think about it. With as much information... Yeah, and there goes Daniel. He's going to sit back now.
I want to just... Yeah, go ahead.
With as much information as they released yesterday, and it was a ton. It was so fun following that on Twitter. That was a lot. What's left to release at STOV in a couple of weeks? What's really left? A trailer for Lower Decks? A trailer for Section 31?
Yeah,
I don't think they're ready for Section 31, so I don't think we'll see anything
they haven't
there.
even begun filming that one.
No, but Lower Decks, obviously, they've got some things made, so maybe we'll see a trailer for Lower Decks, or at least get some short clips or something, so we can hear what it sounds like and see it in motion. Mm-hmm. But what else could they possibly release at STOV?
I'm sure they've kept some things in reserve for that, whether that's the involvement of the other 3 main cast members.
We didn't get a trailer for Discovery.
No, we just got some screens. We just got some shots. Yeah.
Yeah. So that.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll see. It's only 2 weeks away, and we could be looking at a whole nother amount of information all over again.
So our next episode is just going to be recapping STOV.
Probably.
Yeah.
Depends. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
But
someday we'll actually go.
Maybe.
Tell me about it.
So no, I'm kidding.
One of these days.
Someday.
All right. Do we have anything else we need to cover, gentlemen, or are we wrapping it up?
I think we're wrapping it up.
All right.
Yeah. Live long and prosper.
That's the show, ladies and gentlemen. As always, please subscribe to the show either on Podbean or Google Play or on iTunes. Leave us a review.
Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify. We're on all those places at this point. Leave us a review. Tell us what you think about the show. If you hate the show, tell us that too. But still, just give us 5 stars anyway.
Yeah, just be nice about it.
Just be nice about it. Yeah. Make sure you get over to the Facebook group if you can. If you're on Facebook, that's great. If not, go follow us on Instagram. You got to be on one of the two. And if you're not on one of those, then go follow us over on Twitter. It's TrekCast TNG on Instagram. It's TrekCast TNG on Twitter. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
Cue the music.
TrekCast.
There it is.
All right, guys.
We don't have an outro.
All right. Bye.
All right. See you guys.